on South Asia is brought to you by Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo, together we'll go far.
Hello and welcome to Eye on South Asia. I'm Bhavna Vanan.
And I'm Sanjeev Pandya.
Every week we'll bring to you the latest news and current events with the South Asian community. Sanjeev, let's get started with this week's headlines.
That's right.
We have Rajat Gupta. He was on this big trial regarding the insider trading case, and now he's being freed on bail and he's waiting an appeal. So he was freed on a $10 million bond as he awaits his appeal for this conviction.
Right.
And he's actually waiting till January 8th to start this 2-year prison sentence.
Rajat Gupta was found guilty and he was convicted through the use of direct and powerful circumstantial evidence. Now he's on bail, he's out on bail, a $10 million bond bail, right? Mm-hmm. And the reason for that is, Bhavna, that his lawyers claimed in court papers that there were judicial errors in the case, in the earlier case, and they were not allowed, meaning Rajat Gupta was not allowed to defend himself properly. He was not given a chance by the judge at the time. So his lawyers, Rajat Gupta's lawyers, feel that they have a chance, they have a better chance second time. Mm-hmm. One such example was that Gupta's daughter was not permitted to explain to jurors that her father was angry with Rajaratnam, who actually, the matter is that Rajat Gupta gave a lot of tips to Rajaratnam since he was a board member of Goldman Sachs. So Rajat Gupta's daughter was not allowed to explain to jurors that Gupta himself was angry with Rajaratnam because with business dealings that he had with Rajaratnam, Gupta had lost almost like $10 million. Mm-hmm. But because Gupta was not allowed to defend himself and judge did not give him that many opportunities, his lawyers think that second time around Gupta will be able to defend himself better. That's why they asked for time. They asked for a bail, which he got it, and now he's going to appeal.
Right, and this wasn't actually a fault of the prosecution side. It was more of a fault of the court instead. Yes. So, it works out to Raja Gupta's favor, so that's good. And it says that he was not allowed to even present his case properly, and so this is why he had.
Now the case is going to go to the court, I think, in April 2013, and also there are reports that court may ask him to serve his sentence before the appeal is heard, or he's scheduled to appear in court on January 8th. He may be in the prison, I think, till case restarts. I don't know. We don't know that much of a detail. But right now, it's a fact that he's out on $10 million bond, and the prosecutors kind of opposed to judge's decision because Mr. Rajat Gupta is a flight risk. But court finally agreed defense's appeal and the request, and let's see what happens now.
Right. And this does actually fit in with Rajat Gupta's fairly positive image that he's had so far. And his principal defense was that if he had known about Rajaratnam having cheated him out of this $10 million, that he would have never had those interactions and wouldn't have provided those tips.
Very true.
So, and that was not able to be conveyed in the court. So, this is something that we'll see unfold in the new year, and we'll see how this sentence and bail plays out as well.
Let's see who benefits.
Yes.
From this appeal. Exactly.
So far, the prosecution seems to be a little bit at a step back.
They won big time. So far, they won big time, but let's see what happens now.
Right. Okay, so let's move on to Facebook and Infosys. Mm-hmm. What do these two companies have in common?
They're both part of NASDAQ.
Mm-hmm. Well, the NASDAQ 100.
They used to be. They used to be now.
Right. Okay. So Facebook, the social networking giant, will now replace Infosys, and this is of course, the Indian software company, and it'll be replacing it on the NASDAQ 100 beginning December 12th.
That's right.
And Instead, Infosys is starting to switch to the NYSE Euronext big board, and they're actually looking to reach European investors.
Yeah, because Infosys is quite successful and has a very reputable name in the IT industry. But now they're moving from NASDAQ to NYSE, New York Stock Exchange, especially in Europe market, because they believe that their nature of business will attract more European investors. So as they are moving from NASDAQ to New York Stock Exchange, Facebook moves into NASDAQ 100. And of course, Facebook was founded by Mark Zuckerberg about 8 years ago. And believe it or not, Facebook has over 1 billion users all over the world.
So would you say that Facebook is benefiting from the situation, or Infosys, or are they both?
No, I think in my opinion, they both are benefiting, because Infosys is moving into NYSE, New York Stock Exchange, and Facebook now joining NASDAQ 100. I think as far as the benefit goes, Infosys is going to benefit through New York Stock Exchange, but Facebook has a lot of work to do, because Facebook has lost quite a bit of market value, substantial amount of market value. When it actually went into IPO back in May, it was at $38, and it was valued at like almost 100 billion, and now the company is valued a lot less.
Right,
than
and
what
this
it
is before it went public.
Yes.
It was valued at a lot more, and now since it's dropped to like 29.7 billion. That's a huge drop. Right. So Facebook is trying several avenues now where they're looking to capitalize on mobile and getting revenue from advertising from different sources, especially mobile. So they kind of have different
All right.
things
So
going.
from now, at least they have got into NASDAQ 100, but from 100 to go to number one, they've got a lot of work to do.
Right. Well, let's hope that Infosys, really benefits from this and does get their European buy-in from that.
True.
So speaking of lists,
Speaking
we
of
have,
businesses and the list.
yeah, exactly.
And,
And people
after
on
NASDAQ,
those lists, yeah.
Exactly. Here comes Forbes again.
Forbes lists Sonia Gandhi and
Right.
Manmohan Singh in their top 20. Now, the last time we
Most
talked,
powerful persons in the world.
yes, the last time we talked about the most powerful person list that they came out with, Sonia Gandhi was number 6, I believe.
I think no, that was only that list for women only.
For women only.
Right.
Okay.
And this list in the world's most powerful persons, Manmohan Singh is at number 20. Barack Obama he's also in that list also. But Sonia Gandhi, being president of the ruling party, Congress, and India, she's also in that list. For the most powerful person in the world.
Right.
Which, most powerful person in the world that maybe you like to see some industrialists or successful businessmen, entrepreneurs, but we see more politicians, and that's what sometimes surprises me. Barack Obama is there. Maybe most influential person, I can understand that, but most powerful, Sonia Gandhi and Manmohan Singh?
I think, Forbes being more of a business side magazine, you would expect that they would have more businesses and companies on this list. At the same time, when it comes to powerful, you think countries and political forces. So I think that's why they have listed, presidents and prime ministers, president of the Congress Party. It is interesting, though, to see Sonia Gandhi come up in number 12, and Prime Minister Manmohan Singh has taken the 20th place. So she seems to be having quite a bit of edge on him in these lists. So that's
And of course, Prime Minister Manmohan Singh is an Oxford and a Cambridge educated economist, and he has actually played a very important, very vital role in India's economic reforms. And to further continue with this Forbes story, they have also placed Reliance Industries Chairman Mukesh Ambani and ArcelorMittal CEO Lakshmi Mittal, India's richest businessman, in the list that comprise 71 heads of state, CEOs, entrepreneurs, and philanthropists who truly run and shape the world of 7.1 billion people.
Wow. So there's your big business name on that list.
So now it has a businessman and a politicians, and
he could have been a little higher, though.
Yeah,
he made 37. So but Forbes comes out with many lists. So
And Obama is in there. And speaking of Obama, and then his continuation of nominating South Asians in
Right.
his administration, here comes another news.
Yes, more successful news for the Indian American community. Obama administration is announcing an Indian American who is at a key administrative post for the independent U.S. agency for people with disabilities. And
That's right.
this is actually a blind Indian American.
Right.
So his name is Sachin Dev Pavitran. He's a program director of Utah Assistive Technology Program at Utah State University Center for Persons with Disabilities. And the Obama administration really believes that these individuals are going to bring a wealth of experience from their current post. Obviously, Mr. Pavitran has plenty of experience in the arena of the disabilities and being the coordinator of this center. And so he really feels that he's going to bring very key knowledge to this position.
Sure, and also to add a little more, the Pavitran has more than 12 years of experience as a consultant on disability police and developing and training users of assistive technology and accessible websites. So that is certainly good news. Sachin Dev Pavitran.
Exactly. And the Obama administration is always looking to up their technology engagement with the people. So I think that's great. Okay, so we talked a little bit about appointments to the Obama administration. So
Continue on to politics.
yes, continuing on to politics, and we can't escape the big name Nikki Haley
That's right.
that appears in the media now and then. So she has been a critic of Barack Obama quite often. So she's actually calling him a hypocrite now, and it's having to do with the Made in USA and these sorts of issues with having jobs exported overseas.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, here Barack Obama and the White House administration are pushing this, agenda saying that made in USA, use made in USA items and everything else. And here Nikki Haley is saying that Barack Obama and his administration actually are using many items which is made overseas. I think something happened in the state of South Carolina, where she is the governor, and that actually prompted her to make that remark, because apparently Obama administration and the unions made some kind of deal which for that deal the items manufactured in South Carolina was not used, and they ended up using the items made outside USA.
Right.
So she really went out and made that comment, and she has been actually critic of Barack Obama for a long, long time. She actually slammed down Obamacare, and she received most of Republican support for not accepting Obamacare for South Carolinians.
Right. And she's also in the news for the Senate seat that has been rumored to be, she's going to be running for the seat that's open in her state, that's being vacated by fellow Republican Jim DeMitt, and he's going to be leaving to join a Washington think
That's right.
tank,
And
apparently.
that is actually happening in 2014.
Yeah.
So there is a strong rumor and talk in the town that Nikki Haley may actually take upon that seat as a Senate, but Nikki Haley says that I can't nominate myself, which is true. How can a governor...
Is that actually against the rules, or she's just doing it purely by ethics?
No, I don't know about the rules or ethics, but I think it would be very awkward when the governor himself or herself would nominate themselves for the Senate seat. It happens in many states when senators either retire or they leave for better positions. And then when a seat is actually open, that's when governor nominates somebody for that seat. So there was this, speculation and a strong rumor that she would take upon that seat and become a senator, but she has strongly, strongly denied that rumor.
Right. And she says that, she loves the job that she does. She seems to be very satisfied with being governor. And she does say, though, that she will appoint someone who has the same philosophy as the previous Jim DeMitt.
Right, previous
and
senator.
she and Jim are on the same eye with most of their philosophy politically.
Right.
So that's her stance on that.
And 2014 is going to be very interesting because that's when congressional elections are going to be up for grabs. So Congress, Congress seats all over USA are going to be, contesting, and Republicans and Democrats, they both will try to take majority seats in the Congress. So it's going to be an interesting year, 2014.
Exactly. Well, we can't talk about Nikki Haley without talking about the other Republican Indian-American governor, who is Bobby Jindal.
Governor of Louisiana.
Governor of Louisiana. So
Jewish Bobby Jindal.
Yes, he's coming out with several interesting statements after this election when he's kind of criticizing the Republican Party for the way it's become, and he's trying to say
No,
that...
he's actually criticizing his own party.
Yeah, exactly.
And his own party members, including he criticized Mitt Romney for making certain remarks. I'm not sure what Governor Bobby Jindal is trying to prove. I don't know. I think he wants to isolate himself from the party a little bit. He wants to prove his point. He wants to be different. He's been criticizing ever since end of election, saying the Republican Party should have done this. We should reach out to common people. We should reach out to more and more people in the minority. We should prove our point. We should get our message going to the voters. Only then we'll be elected. And now he came out with another news saying that the Republicans sound like they're protecting rich. It's like something we didn't know.
Right. Yeah, but he seems to be advocating that the Republican Party move a little bit more to the center and not so much to the right, where they're always talking about opposition to tax increases and their very traditional position on the fiscal cliff. So he's saying that we really need to get past that conversation and really be able to engage the American people as a whole and not be completely siloed as a party. So we're actually going to be taking a short break.
Exactly.
And we'll be right back on Eye on South Asia.
Eye on South Asia is brought to you by Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo, together we'll go far.